Welcome to the 24 T2 tournament for Lime War. So this is round 2 with Nickname versus Barracuda. But remember, there's a playlist in the description for the other tournament matches. Both players have a decent starting location here, and because of that, we'll likely know where each other will choose to start. So, Nickname has a city space available at the start and goes for 2 factories hidden in the forest, a town, industry, and an airfield hidden in the mountains. And Nickname's already got a plan in mind. He's got a group of units going up to the northern section of the map, potentially to try and limit Barracuda's movement so he can't expand the rest of the map. Barracuda, on the other hand, starts with a town. He's got 2 factories hidden in the mountains and barracks just placed behind them, which is going to be a good combination with the terrain that's in front of him, with the forest boosting the infantry and the mountains slowing down the units for the artillery to have extra time to give damage over range. With all that in mind, as you can see, the battle is taking place right now. Nickname's moving a couple of units into the forest, setting up a defense there. That will give him the bonus when he gets the defense as well, so that's a bonus on top of the bonus. The Nickname's just trying to get a hold in here so he can see the units coming in, but he's got quite a few units coming around the side to this defense. Barracuda does want to get rid of that. And it just looks like Nickname's just trying to keep his structures that are quite vulnerable here, to be fair, so far forward in comparison to the forces at the time. But he has managed to keep them there, and he's spotted these units coming in now. So we've got the frontline defense, and the artillery are moving in the background just to try and keep them in the right location. He's keeping them close to the mountains as well. But as that's happening, these infantry there are going to jump on top of these artillery over here, as well as these guys pushing in through the mountains as fast as they can, as they got this haste command on that artillery. And don't forget, we've got the units expanding up in the north of Barracuda, but Nickname is rushing up forward over into that section to try and cut him off, which is something that both players are going to have to keep an eye on. Now Barracuda's gone for tanks, which means the terrain's actually going to go against him here now, because these tanks are going to be moving really slow and they don't have a lot of vision. But now Barracuda's got his artillery up here, he's got the tanks moving in the back, and there's a lot of infantry moving through the foresty areas. Just trying to keep an eye on what else could be going on around the map. So Nickname's got up to this section, he's grabbing some of the territories here, and I think he's just going to try and hold this choke point. We've got an interceptor coming out, scouting the map, so that's going to give Nickname some good vision over here. He's spotted the town, he's spotted all these structures over here, and that's scouting this area too. He's checking to see where they are on that choke point there to see if he's expanded in that zone. Let's turn off Fog of War again. There we go. But most of these infantry are coming in through the forest this way. They're trying to reach out, coming under the cover of the forest. But they are going to get spotted by Nickname by these units also trying to take advantage of the forest there. It looks like Nickname's got a stronger defense line here, at least at the start. And a few units trying to capture this territory, which is why a couple of these artillery are moving forward rather than staying behind. Another group of infantry just stuck on this forest here. Both players are trying to use the terrain to the best of their ability. A few red units do make it through and they come around here. There's also these tanks that actually managed to make it through. I didn't actually follow those around that section. I should have. But they are there. I kind of feel like Barracuda's forgotten about them at the minute. And he's on the move with them. We've got infantry coming in now to try and block their paths. And they could potentially have gotten to this town. But the helicopter will do a fair amount of damage there, so it's going to, like, against the tank specifically. And Nickname's trying to block off this path here. It's going to do good if he catches these infantry without them trying to retreat. What about the choke point up here? There's going to be an engagement over here soon. We've got Barracuda with 2 barracks there, but also Nickname has 2 barracks up there too, so the production's going to be fairly equal. Nickname's guessing that there's going to be some air units soon. He's getting some SAM ready. I think he's confident that he's got a strong front line now, and his weakness is air, to be fair, and he's got air units. So he could be worried about a strong air attack, and that's why he's getting these SAMs in now. Up in the northern sections, they are fighting for some territories here, but Barracuda's units are a bit more grouped up in this section. But Nickname does have a few units over there already. Tensions seem to be rising over this borderline here. They started so close together and yet unfortunately just couldn't get through and do any damage in this section. So they are just going to hold up this front line for quite a while. We'll have to keep close eyes on that one. But there are some other routes through which Barracuda's trying to spot and get through in now. So he's sending some units up into this section. He's going to end up meeting Nickname, who's blocking him off once again. Just in the nick of time. But instead now, Nickname is actually trying to push his units forward here. He's just cutting off some more space here so that Nickname's got some more territory or more control over it over there. In the north section, it looks like Nickname's actually gaining a foothold here too. He's going to be able to hold off this area with a larger force of infantry. And he's applying some pressure on the sides here, so he's going to keep the defense here and he's going to be probably passing units through this section, leaving this as a gap where he can funnel the forces through. Helicopters coming in at the back here with the SAM moving in. There's not enough of them really against 4 helicopters. We do have a factory being built over here in the forest, so they're going to be using SAM for the, to start with right now. Another barracks being placed. I think Barracuda really wants to try and find a way around these sections. And I think he's also worried about the helicopters being moved up into these sections, especially with the structures here. So he's going to be trying to protect his structures from air first. And then he's going to probably be switching into artillery a bit later on. We do see the helicopters actually moving up forward as these infantry are pushing into this section here. I have spotted some commandos messing around over here. I'm not sure if he's planning something with those or if they're just there to protect. I just heard a navy yard. I think, yep, there's one here. So we also have a strike command over here, so something went to actually attack these. I assume it was the infantry that was coming in this way, but it looks like Nickname protected it. And it could be that this will end up transport boats, and he's going to be trying to transport across like this instead. The helicopters in the north are trying to attack here, so Barracuda was right to build those SAM units straight away, but unfortunately there's quite a lot of infantry here that Barracuda is having to deal with, and the defense here is a bit unbreakable right now with the forces that he actually has. He's having to retreat the SAM units away from the infantry there just to make sure he can protect from those helicopters that are waiting in the back. I would just like to quickly check their economy. So I'm just zooming out while we do that. So we've got 797 from Nickname and from Barracuda 730. So Barracuda's not really that far behind. Those infantry from Nickname have been stopped. I think they're going to take out one structure. There's still a few there, but there's probably enough to be able to take them out soon. And now the SAM are trying to sneak around here, just try and snipe one of these helicopters at least, but unfortunately don't quite make it in time. A small group of infantry are rushing forward around the defences over here, just as this is sort of spinning out. And there is a pretty strong defense. Barracuda's actually worked on building this up now. So he's got quite a formidable force at his main location. But Nickname is sending up a lot of forces into the northern section to try and capture the land over here. And now if we just quickly have a look at the main map. So although Barracuda is being blocked by Nickname at almost every front, he does have some territories left to grab, but Nickname has a lot more to grab than Barracuda does, which was pretty much what Nickname was trying to do. It doesn't really matter to him if he doesn't break Barracuda, because eventually he'll be able to out-eco him. And Barracuda really has to break through somewhere. And the helicopter's running away once again. It does survive. It takes a bit of damage. But this is the forces now moving into this section here, up this way. And I thought I could see the units moving this way. There must be a reason. We got the transport boats picking up some units over here and dragging them across this way. We do have some transport jets here, so it could be that he's going to plan the commandos to be dropped in soon. And just having a quick look around. To be fair, Nickname also has some trade routes available to him. And right now he's just setting up a defense, just like he has been all over the map, just trying to block him off and give himself some room to sort of grow or get in and set up. Just like he did up here, where he's put a defense line there and he's got some production behind. The defense line over here, though, is starting to go down. We've got actually a rocket appearing here. We've got to keep an eye now, because he's going to plan to break this defense with a rocket. And Red's forces are actually breaking this defense. It doesn't look like Nickname's going to be able to hold this for long. He may have to try and rethink his plan. He does have more transport boats now, and he has the commandos moving in places. Where did they end up going? So we've got one unit here. Unfortunately, a few have died, but he does have some still alive over here. But I don't think they're going to be alive for long. I think they're going to get taken out pretty soon, so we thought we'd just come down and check this one. They're digging in once again into the mountains here to try and increase their defense and just hold out longer, really. And I like this. He's got one last boat and he's just going to drop them off on this little section here because he can at least hold it there. That rocket's nearly done. And it looks like the defences are getting closer, but we've got artillery now. So these artillery are going to get 3 kills on this defence unless Nickname does something about it. We got a little transport boat being built here, so I think he might be trying to jump across here as well. I think this line's not meant to be there. He's going to have another group of units on this section here. He's trying to drop them in over there. The rocket's been fired. It's coming down right on top of most of these. It's even damaged some of these structures here. But now Barracuda can sort of force his way into this section. He may even get these structures. There's not a lot to protect over here with now. I think this was the last place Nickname was worried about. He's losing a defense over here as well. Very, very slowly, admittedly. So Nickname is going to be struggling over here for at least a little bit. And you got to remember, Barracuda has another rocket soon, and that one's probably going to be used much more offensively, rather than just to break the defense. But we've got commandos in the back of the base now. Now these units are going to be coming this way. That could give free way for these transport boats. They're coming in over here now. That's a pretty smart idea. He's got some barracks set up here, and they're just going to be quickly transporting across. And they won't need too many boats there at all. And he's going to be able to just drop them off in different locations there. So he's going to give Barracuda a bit of a run around as Barracuda pushes into this section here. Fortunately for Nickname, he does have quite a few helicopters, and Barracuda has a group of SAM, but they're a little behind right now. But they are getting on these helicopters. Just trying to keep an eye. The forces up here are getting a lot stronger as Barracuda pushes through. And I want to check the economy right now, as this is going to be like potentially a change in tides. So we got 900 from Barracuda, 930, but Nickname is far ahead when it comes to the economy. He's on 1,500. He's been setting up some towns and industry across the map. He's got a trade route set up, and he's going to have another one soon. He's not done with his economy potential. So he's noticed there's potential. Oh, actually, I don't think he's noticed that. It's just pure luck. We've got missile ships coming in on this on this lake here, just as this airfield's being built. So when air units take off, they're going to end up flying straight into those missile ships. Barracuda's forces are coming across the mountains, shredding through what was left of Nickname's base here. which is unfortunate because having the trade route here is going to be a loss of economy if Nickname can't hold it. He's set up a lot of structures over here which are going to be able to push downward. But we'll have to see how he plays it. Up in the north, Barracuda is pushing through now as well. Bringing a fair amount of forces through here, but there's two helicopters at least? 3. Pushing through in these sections, and there's no anti-air. He's producing some more anti-air, but he's got to get them there as well. Down in this section, we do have a few artillery being built up, and are able to fight back, and the building is being used as a meat shield for now. So Barracuda has another rocket ready. Or at least very close to being ready, I'm not 100% sure. There's 2 barracks down here now, so Nickname's also pushing and putting pressure against Barracuda, meaning he may have to re-divert some of these reinforcements to go the other way instead. Someone struggling with energy, that would be Nickname. It would be his helicopters, probably in the north. They are trying to halt this advance, but unfortunately Barracuda is putting on a bit of a rampage up there. And Nickname still hasn't quite managed to expand the entirety of the map. Cutting off Barracuda kept a lot of places for him to expand, and it's taken him a long time to do so. And Barracuda's not pushing forward here, he's just set up a bit of a defense. I think he's worried that his units are not strong enough. But all he'd need to do is try and take out that town with it. It's just that group of infantry. Saving that trade route temporarily. So Barracuda's brought his forces through, but unfortunately hasn't really been able to keep up the momentum here. And the transport boat is jumping units across. They're going to take on this town. And that's going to hurt his economy, because he hasn't managed to grow it too much yet, considering. We've got 1,000 a minute. And now most of the units in this section have been cleared up. Nickname's got a group of forces behind the enemy lines here. He's stepping away from the defences down, pushing those forward too. And the infantry keep roaming in here, and we've got a factory being built there as well. Don't think Barracuda's noticed this yet. He's still got quite a few infantry around that he could use to push in. He has now noticed it. And there is still a rocket available. He just needs to find a good place to use it. So Barracuda's retreated and setting up his own defense on that section. And is slowly but surely losing the ground over here. The rocket has been fired. It is going over to this direction. Does he know about this zone here? He might do. He's going for the production mostly, and he does take out at least 3 of those structures, and one's heavily damaged. 3 of them are heavily damaged. So even though he doesn't get the kill on those structures because they're damaged, it is going to cost Nickname in repairs. Down in this section we've got a small group of units defending in the mountains here. Nickname's small strike force here is going through, and it's pretty much stopping. I think these units are going to... these structures are going to end up going down. Barracuda's got helis in play right now, so these actually might tear through it. They won't actually take out those structures if we can get those helis in play quicker. But if I remember, he had an airfield with interceptors, but it went down, so it was over here somewhere. He does have another airfield. He could go for some more interceptors. We've even got tanks jumping in over here, which is going to be a bit of a struggle with the helicopters that come around, but we could end up seeing helis versus helis here. Not as good as interceptors, but helis do take out air units. Those tanks are going to try and sweep around the back to take out this town on their own little mission over there. And we've got another rocket coming from Barracuda. But Nickname is slowly reclaiming this land in this initial choke point that they held. Nickname's putting pressure on the original location of Barracuda. It might not be that he gets a chance to fire this rocket. I do see that these units are not going to probably do too much here with the amount of production that's there. So I do think that rocket will be able to be fired once more, at least. Nickname holding his own front line here now as well. And most of the forces on the ground in this section have been taken out from Nickname. Or of Nickname, should I say. And just some helicopters flying around in this section, just able to spot the forces moving in, which could be quite concerning for Barracuda. He does need to set up some more defenses once again. But that rocket is ready to fire. And it is on its way. Just going to take out a large portion of this force here. And it reaches out to this area, heavily damaging some units still. And that has pretty much cleared him out. I think Barracuda is easily going to be able to survive, at least on this front. He's still threatened by this side too. Just trying to keep an eye on what's going on over here. There is a bit of an engagement going on. The Hellies are trying to clear up what's on the ground because there's no anti-air there. And he's able to do that pretty nicely. I'm just going to quickly check how far of the map they've got. So both players pretty much own the whole map. There's just a small portion up in the corner there. Barracuda struggling with his economy. You can see it's almost minus 100. It now is. Whereas I'm guessing Nickname's doing pretty fine. Yeah, it's nearly plus 1,000. And I think he's just spending it mostly on more economy. So he does have down here, he's building the trade route there, so he's going to have an even greater economy very soon. Barracuda has that rocket silo, but it's because he's struggling with his economy, it might be that he just doesn't have a chance to build it. He might need to stop production of everything else if he does want another rocket, but that would leave him vulnerable while he's doing that. This island's still sending units across. They're going to come up this way instead now as the distraction's happening here. They might actually be able to take over this section. Barracuda's making a push in the north. And Nickname has been forced to retreat. And without any anti-air there, he's actually just pretty much been taken out on the front. But he is trying to build up these SAMs once again. And I don't know if he actually kept any of the helicopters from before, but he does have quite a few airfields, so he should be fine. We have a rocket silo coming from Nickname, and I can imagine that that's probably going to be firing constantly as soon as it can. And Barracuda's actually got a trade route up here that he hasn't managed to take hold of yet, because this area has been quite heavily contested, to be fair. Nickname's once again bringing units in here. It seems that every time Barracuda pushes here, Nickname pushes in here, and that stops the reinforcements coming in. So he's cutting off the attack here. Down in this section, not too much is going on, just mostly harassment. There's Nickname trying to find a way in. He's just spotted this, so he's moving around it. The tank's progressing into it. But the helicopter might just take that out as it comes in. The artillery on the front here just freely hitting the infantry there. Backed up by SAM units, so he's not going to get hit by that many helicopters. Nickname's actually not going for helicopters anymore, he's actually going for those bombers. Nickname's making an advance on these artilleries, pushing the tanks in first to take the heavy damage and getting close as the artillery come in and provide that cover. The helicopter's still there though, and the anti-air's moving in as well now, so Nickname's got a pretty decent force here. It might be small, but it's very well organised. And he's just holding ground here. It looks like Barracuda's tried to send a good force downwards, but it's now thinned out enough that they might be able to defend. The commandos, or not commandos, those normal infantry have been moved in. They snuck around the defences, and instead of going for this main location, they're just trying to get in the back and do as much damage as they can. The helicopters have been called away, which could be dangerous because they could be more beneficial over here, even with the anti-air that's here. Because this area is quite important to hold. Yeah, Barracuda's putting the pressure on here, so it's not just one-sided at the moment. Even though the economy is not favoured. It's definitely one-sided. We've got 2,500 from Nickname now, and Barracuda's on 1,000. So literally 2.5 times the economy, and Barracuda is still putting up a strong fight up in the north. I do get the feeling that Nickname knew that he was going to cut him off, and when he was holding these zones, he was just trying to build up that economy until he maxed it out before going on the offense. Not that I think he has maxed it out just yet. He has got a city. You know, okay, he might have maxed it out. There's a city he could build here. There we go. The bombers move into the north. Those helicopters can... I don't know. Can they shoot the bombers? Yes, they can. Because the bombers I was a bit concerned about, because you can't... Like, the artillery won't shoot bombers because they're, I guess, too high. So they have to be hit by, like, specifically anti-air. But apparently helis can hit them too. The rocket has been fired. It's coming down this way. And that's probably going to hit the production. All in this section here. And it takes out quite a lot. A few things that are fairly important as well. And Nickname's able to put pressure on two sides here. There's not too much Barracuda can do right now in this section anymore with the forces that are approaching. Nickname's moving the anti-air up into this section here to try and catch off any units. Helicopters are targeting the city right now, so that city looks like it's about to drop at any moment. But unfortunately Barracuda doesn't have the energy to keep them there. In fact, he has no energy at all anymore. Those helicopters are going to stay down until he gets energy wells back up. And it looks like Barracuda wasn't willing to try and continue to break through. What did you think of that match? How would you have broke through Nickname's trap there? Genuinely interested to know. Thank you all for watching. There are 2 videos on screen right now. Feel free to click on one, and I'll see you there.